An Unearthly Job by Richard Stull. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is an agency of the United States government. Astronauts train for their jobs at NASA. In recent years, most astronauts did their work aboard a space shuttle. Many still work at the International Space Station, ISS, a huge satellite that astronauts built in space. The astronauts flew pieces of the space station into space on a shuttle. Once in space, the astronauts put the pieces back together. Astronauts still travel back and forth between Earth and the ISS. It takes about 2 days to reach the space station from Earth. An astronaut's work never ends. At the ISS, there is a lot of work to do. Astronauts unload and check supplies brought from Earth. This requires great care. A small mistake could result in a valuable piece of equipment floating off into the void. Sometimes astronauts have needed to repair a space shuttle or the ISS. For example, in 2007, they had to repair a damaged solar panel on the space station. Working in space can be dangerous. Tiny pieces of rock called meteoroids zoom through space. These rocks can hit the astronauts as they work. Temperatures range from very hot to very cold, making space uncomfortable. There is also the possibility of exposure to harmful radiation from the sun. Suiting up for safety. Astronauts wear spacesuits to protect their bodies. The suits are made of strong materials that are able to withstand the harsh conditions of space. The suits protect astronauts from extreme temperatures and from meteoroids. The spacesuit has other uses too. It has a helmet with a clear front that allows astronauts to see as they work. The suit is sealed so astronauts can get oxygen. Each suit has a built-in radio that astronauts use to communicate with each other. When astronauts need to move a short distance through space, they use a backpack with small rockets inside. Once their work outside is done, the astronauts return to the space station. They take off their spacesuits in a special chamber and put on regular clothes. Living without gravity. Inside the ISS, astronauts don't walk, they float. That's because there is no gravity in space to hold things down. In fact, people are weightless. Astronauts have to be careful with water. A drop of floating water could jam up a computer, causing it to be permanently impaired. Water, crumbs, and even lint must be carefully contained at all times. Sleeping in space is one of the easiest things to do. Astronauts can sleep anywhere because they are weightless. They can sleep upside down or float around the cabin. Some astronauts strap themselves into a sleeping bag attached to a wall. Others just fasten a pillow around their heads. Most astronauts sleep for 8 hours a night. Free time in space. Astronauts do not have much free time in space, but they do relax sometimes. They might read a book or send email to a family member. They might also play an instrument or take photographs of things outside the windows. There are lots of miraculous sights in space. Astronauts must exercise every day to keep their muscles strong and their bones healthy. Keeping fit and having fun help crew members avoid tension during space shuttle flights. How work in space helps life on Earth. Astronauts spend most of their time in space working. Some study the effects of weightlessness or test a new computer innovation. Others conduct experiments, such as testing the growth of seeds in space or the human body's reaction to being in space. Still others study what Earth looks like from space. The work astronauts do is important to our understanding of life on Earth. For example, astronauts can measure changes in polar caps, and this helps us to understand the effects of global warming. Astronauts' work also provides information about other planets and stars that are our neighbors in space. Look back and respond. 1. What is the article mainly about? 2. How does weightlessness affect the lives of the astronauts in space? 3. What details support the main idea that astronauts work hard? 4. Why is the work astronauts do in space important to life on Earth?